70%! At its peak, one single site handled 70% of all Bitcoin trades. Then, billions vanished. And here's the kicker. That site didn't even start with Bitcoin. Nope, it started with nerds swapping Magic the Gathering cards, wizards, dragons, and acne. How did a dorky card forum become the Las Vegas of crypto and collapse in history's messiest implosion? Welcome to Mt. Gox, the tragic telenovela of Bitcoin. Imagine if Pokemon card forums ran Wall Street. That's how absurd it was. Back in 2006, coder Jed McCaleb launched MTGOX.com, short for Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. The idea? Trade digital wizard cards. The result? Absolute flop. Nobody wanted to swap pixelated elves for cash. But Jed wasn't just a random gamer. He was a restless coder who'd later help build Ripple and Stellar, projects moving billions today. So Mt. Gox? Just his messy first draft. And like any first draft, it was full of typos. Back then, 2006 internet culture was pure chaos. Anime avatars, messy forums, fan fiction wars. The idea that one of those geeky domains would later host billions in trades feels like finding out Comic-Con suddenly became the Federal Reserve. Then Jed discovered Bitcoin. Lightbulb moment. Recycle the domain. Wizards didn't work. Maybe magic internet money will. And just like that, Mt. Gox became the world's biggest Bitcoin exchange. Innovative? Sure. Secure? Not at all. Their idea of a strong password was probably 123 Wizard. In 2011, Jed sold Mt. Gox to Mark Carpellet. Boom! Nerd site to Wall Street of Bitcoin. By 2013, Mt. Gox handled 70% of global trades. Imagine one pizza shop selling 70% of the world's pizzas. That's not a business, that's mozzarella dictatorship. Journalists went wild. Traders lined up like it was Black Friday for coins. Bitcoin looked all grown up. Remember, before Mt. Gox, buying Bitcoin was sketchy. You'd wire money to strangers on shady forums and just hope they sent coins back. Mt. Gox looked professional by comparison, which says less about Mt. Gox and more about how low the bar was. On the surface, glittering casino. Behind the curtain, chaos. Servers crashing. Sticky notes everywhere. Spreadsheets so ugly even Excel would sue. It looked unstoppable until people realized the castle was built out of mozzarella, not marble. June 2011, hackers hit Mt. Gox. 25,000 Bitcoins gone. Back then, a few hundred grand. Today, fleet of yachts shaped like bananas. Worse, someone with admin access dumped coins so fast, Bitcoin's price collapsed to 1 cent. 1 cent. Imagine, yesterday you had a car. Today you can't even buy gum. Forums exploded. Headlines screamed, Bitcoin is dead. Again. But somehow, the price crawled back. Lesson learned, Bitcoin dies like a soap opera villain. Over and over. Fortunes vanished overnight, and not into shiny new pennies. More like those sticky ones you find under the car seat. By 2013, Mt. Gox was still king. If you wanted Bitcoin, that was the door. But cracks showed, withdrawals dragging for weeks, support slower than grandma's dial-up, regulators circling like sharks. Customers joked about refreshing screens for days waiting for coins, and traders shrugged. Relax, what could go wrong? Famous last words. Because when someone says, what could go wrong, the universe hears it as a personal challenge. February 2014, withdrawals frozen. Official excuse? A bug called transaction malleability. Translation? Hackers found a loophole to cash out twice. Customers panicked. Forums exploded. Some camped outside the Tokyo office with cardboard signs begging for refunds. Inside, Mark Carpellis mumbling, "Don't worry, I'll fix it right after my nap." Frozen accounts, furious customers, but no one was ready for the number about to leak. A number so big it makes accountants wake up screaming at 3 a.m. Bombshell. 850,000 Bitcoins missing. 7% of all Bitcoin on Earth. Imagine your bank announcing, oops, we lost everyone's savings. And Jeff's lunch money too. Back then, $500 million. Today, tens of billions. Families wiped out. College funds, retirements, wedding budgets. Gone in a digital black hole. Mt. Gox went from biggest exchange to most expensive magic trick. Now you see your coins, now you don't. Compared to Wall Street scandals, this was insane. When banks lose billions, they get bailouts, golden parachutes, and Senate hearings. When Mt. Gox lost billions, customers got forum posts, bad excuses, and the phrase, "sorry goblins," and the deeper people looked, the uglier it got. Like checking your bank account and the manager says, "oops, goblins probably." Headlines screamed, Bitcoin is finished. Government smirked, we told you so. Banks laughed so hard, they almost printed another bailout just for fun. Prices crashed, investors cried, and yet Bitcoin refused to die. Like a cockroach in a financial apocalypse, it crawled out of the rubble. But for Mt. Gox, the horror show was just starting, and every good horror has a jump scare. Mark Karpel's the man of the hour, arrested, accused of fraud, embezzlement, and cooking the books harder than a Thanksgiving turkey. 2019, convicted of falsifying data, suspended sentence. For victims, it was like, lose life savings, then watch the boss stroll home. Justice served? More like justice microwaved. Plot twist, Mt. Gox suddenly found 200,000 bitcoins in an old wallet, like discovering treasure behind your couch cushions, except worth billions. But instead of relief, people asked, you didn't check all wallets before panicking? Turns out, their accounting system was basically sticky notes, Excel files, and blind faith. World's biggest exchange, powered by duct tape and optimism. Japan was embarrassed. Regulators rushed out new crypto laws. Exchanges upgraded security, and the phrase, not your keys, not your coins, became gospel. An expensive lesson. Trust a wizard website with your fortune. Don't be shocked when the dragon eats it. Crypto was forced to grow up overnight. But no law could erase the scars. From then on, every trader's bedtime prayer was, please, don't let me get goxed. When dust settled, only memes remained. Getting goxed became slang for losing everything. Chat rooms, conferences, even t-shirts. To this day, when someone gets rugged, people still say, you got goxed, because crypto heals with memes, loud memes. In fact, crypto is the only place you can lose your savings and still go viral for it. For victims, nightmare dragged on for years. Court battles thicker than a phone book. Lawyers billing by the minute. 2021, repayment plan approved. Relief? Not really. Delays piled up like pizza delivery lost for a decade. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's price exploded. What was hundreds in 2014 turned into tens of thousands. Some stood to receive more than they lost, if the courts ever stopped dragging. The latest promise? October 31st, 2024. Halloween. Perfect. Maybe refunds, maybe just another jump scare. After 10 years, people weren't sure if they'd get Bitcoin or just a bag of Skittles. And that was Mt. Gox, a site that began with wizards, ruled Bitcoin, and collapsed in fire. It left scars, memes, and the most expensive lesson in crypto history. The lesson? Crypto promised freedom, but without responsibility, it becomes chaos. Mt. Gox wasn't just a collapse, it was a warning shot, and it made one thing painfully clear. In this world, trust code, not wizards. But the story doesn't end. Next, the real showdown. Why governments hate Bitcoin. Because when money slips out of their hands, so does power. Taxes, control, money printers. Bitcoin threatens it all. It's not just about wealth anymore. It's about who really owns the future of money. So hit like, subscribe, and remember, never trust a wizard with your wallet.